So this is the Enroller training for Williams Industrial Services Group. And I've provided the enrollment team a little bit of background here with the benefits guide and the landing page link and the link to the system and everything. But here's what we're going to do exactly. We're going to go over the benefits guide. We're going to look at the enrollment schedule. We're going to go into the system and walk through the system. You're all savvy on how to navigate the system, but just show you how to. There are a few little nuanced things with this group, but otherwise it's pretty standard. So it shouldn't be an issue. But Katrina, the one thing that did come up already, the question was the eligibility. And I think I know the answer, but I want to just make that clear here. So there is a temporary status, which means not eligible yet. Because I think the workbook talks about that you're effective for benefits immediately upon hire. But then there's maybe like a different class of people that are temporary that are not there yet.
Yeah, so I thought that Christina was going to take that out because temporary employees are not eligible for benefits. There's basically two classes basically that are eligible. There's full-time staff and there's full-time craft. And we call them numbers in our system right now. But anyone who's temporary, they have to be with the company for a year before they're eligible. So I basically dictate who would be eligible for the term. Yeah,
so if they're hired as full-time, either craft or the regular, then that's the workbook, or excuse me, the guide is referring to those folks, and their eligibility is right away. Got it. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. So Katrina, is there anything that you wanted to share with the enrollers about, prior years or expectations for this year, or any benefit changes that have happened this year? Obviously the voluntary products are new, but, or anything regarding the locations or even for the call center people, anything that we should know at least?
I don't know that there's anything specific that you need to know per se, but as far as the benefits go, most everything, there was a slight increase in premiums for folks this year, but it was I think it was 2%. And there's a 2-year rate guarantee, so it will stay the same next year. But the benefits themselves are almost identical, I believe. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, to the previous carriers, but we were with Anthem before, and now everything is consolidated to Cigna, with the exception of the HSA and FSA, which is Fidelity.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's get into, so what I have pulled up here is the landing page, and the link was included in the training invite for my team's review, but this is what was provided to the group to distribute to the employees, and you can see there's a link there to make an appointment. They can make an appointment for the call center or for the on-site locations if they're if they work out of the on-site locations. They don't have to necessarily if they're at if they work from one of the on-site locations. They don't necessarily have to go in to meet with us. They can use the call center. So we're keeping an eye on the appointments there. The call center is pretty full for the first week. First 3 days are completely full. It's kind of getting there, and then working on the rest there. So 9th to the 25th is the enrollment time frame, and then we have the plan documents are all here for reference. For you though, the easiest thing to use is the actual benefits guide. Now this isn't the final version yet, but it's work in progress, but I think it's close.
So to that point, we got the Jamie, the last one I got this morning. We're good to go with that. Jamie, are you there? I can forward it to y'all if Jamie can't hear it. But we did finalize it this morning.
Yeah, we'll take the final version for the enrollers, but we'll also put it up on the landing page as the first icon there.
Perfect. And do we have, I didn't see, you went quickly through those benefit pages. Is the life insurance up there now?
Medical, dental. Let's talk about Texas for a second. So what's the final word on that for our call center?
So from my understanding from Cigna is they have to create a separate plan only for specific language that applies to Texas plans.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I only have 2 people that are enrolled in the Texas plan, but there may be a few at open enrollment that do enroll. But they're basically, the plan themselves is the same, except for the language for Texas.
Okay.
And
the rates are the same?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought they were different, but according to Helen with Cigna, the email yesterday, she said they're the same. So.
Okay. Good. Let's see. Accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity, life insurance. There's life insurance.
So that's term life, but what about supplemental?
Yeah, employer paid. This is all just, but there's employee paid. It's one document, so it's included there as well.
Okay.
250,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay, so let's go through the benefits guide. So contact information for all the carriers, including us, for new hires. We are handling new hires perpetually through the call center. Table of contents. Eligibility, dependents up to 26. How to enroll, there's the link to make an appointment with us, and then there's the landing page.
Okay.
So medical plans, there are 3 medical plans. This talks about the deductibles, 2 high deductibles, basically a high and a low high deductible plan with an HSA available, and then an OAP plan, $1,500 deductible.
Mm-hmm.
There's a link right there, mycigna.com, to find a provider. And then this is a very good page here, the grid that shows the difference here. One thing I've never seen before on a high deductible plan is copays. So, normally it looks more like the $3,000 plan where you have to pay a percentage. But the $5,000 plan has copays, so that's unique. Calendar year deductibles for all 3 plans, out-of-pocket maximums. You guys are all used to this. And then copays for the PPO, or the OAP rather, and the high deductible. There's an employer contribution to the HSA if you choose a high deductible plan. We'll get to that in a second, but that helps to, with the out-of-pocket there, the deductible. So in-network and out-of-network, so they're all technically PPOs, all 3 plans, because they have in and out-of-network benefits, but of course benefits are reduced out-of-network. Copays for prescriptions, 15 for generics across the board, and then it varies for preferred, non-preferred. So preferred is on the Cigna list of preferred drugs. Non-preferred is not on that list, so their copay is higher. And then specialty drugs. Mail order 90-day supply. There's some savings there on the copays if they do the mail order drugs for maintenance. Telemedicine, Cigna has telehealth. There's a lot of actually value adds with the Cigna plan that you'll see later in here as well. but telemedicine is one of those. There's a phone number. Cigna One Guide, like I said, there's a lot of extra benefits, and this is one of those. You can speak with a Cigna representative, and they can help walk through things with you. HSA, so the employer is contributing $1,000 for individual and $2,000 for family coverage if you enroll in the high deductible plans. The system reflects that as well. The employee can contribute more if they choose to, and we'll show you that. There's a calculator for that. Information on opening an HSA. Fidelity is a new provider there, so there's a link for that to register. We're also providing Fidelity information on the back end. Dental coverage, PPO, high and a low, two options, $50 deductible, $150 for the family. There's your calendar year max per individual, $3,000 per individual maximum coverage on the high plan. That is unique. No cost for preventive care, x-rays, cleanings, oral exams. And the rest is pretty standard, 20% or 10% is your responsibility after you meet your deductible for basic services, 50/40, and then orthodontia children up to 19, maximum $3,000, lifetime max, which is also pretty high. Let's see, vision coverage, in and out of network, one vision plan. In network, no cost for the eye exam, and the $10 copay for the actual lenses. Frames, you get a $130 allowance, and then a discount above that, pretty standard. And then contacts you can get in lieu of glasses, $130 allowance. And then here's the frequencies: once a year for the eye exam, once a year for lenses, once every 2 years for frames. Flexible spending. So we have medical flexible spending, healthcare flexible spending. We have dependent care flexible spending for daycare and things like that. And then there is a limited purpose FSA. So if you elect the OAP plan, then you're eligible to contribute to the healthcare FSA. But actually, if you enroll in the high deductible plan, you can still enroll in the limited purpose FSA. Katrina, when you looked at the system, we didn't have this built yet because it wasn't in the workbook. So in reading this document, we're actually building it out. So if they enrolled in the high deductible, normally they wouldn't be able to get the FSA, but we're going to build a limited purpose FSA just for that situation.
Okay.
The maximum on is the maximum the same as the healthcare FSA for the limited purpose? Okay. Things to consider, FSA rules. Life and accidental death. The amount of company paid life insurance depends on the class of the employee. So they have, for most employees, are going to get 2 times salary. They have another class called craft employees. They get a flat benefit of $10,000. And then there are executives. But the system does all this for you. It's all identified by the census. So it'll show you the benefit amount for the person. Guarantee issue is $250,000. Current coverage is loaded on all lines, and we'll take a look at that in the system as well. And that's helpful to know how much they had before to determine how much they want to get. But they can, if they had 50 before, they can get guarantee issue this year up to a pretty high amount. No EOI. If they do require an EOI, the system will tell you, and I included that EOI in an email to you to give to them. That EOI needs to go to the carrier. The address is in the top right corner of the EOI. It should not go to HR. And I've already identified that to you in an email as well. Spouse guarantee issue is 50,000 and child is 10,000. There's the rates, but they're all in the system as well. Disability insurance, they have short-term and long-term disability. The short-term is a voluntary benefit. There is a pre-X here, 312, 14-day waiting period or elimination period. Benefits kick in on the 15th day. And the benefit period is 26 weeks, 60% of salary. It will show you the benefit amount in the system as well. That's a voluntary product. The LTD is employer paid. 6-month waiting period, 60% of salary up to 10,000. Pretty standard as well. There's the STD rates because it's voluntary, but that's in the system. Okay, the accident plan, again, pretty standard. I gave you in a separate email the full documents on those, the proposals that has all the little nitty-gritty benefits, but this is a good high-level example. Emergency room, hospital admission, 500 or 1,000. There's a high and a low plan here. So they get hospital admission, and then they get a daily benefit, either $100 or $200 a day. ICU is more. There is an accidental death benefit included, 25 or 50,000, and a wellness benefit of $50 per covered person per year as well. We also have brochures that were ordered and delivered on site. We know that Tucker has them. I'm waiting on the other locations to let me know. Critical illness, 10 or 20,000. Spouse gets 50% here. On the accident plan, the spouse gets full benefits. On the, well, excuse me, the AD&D is reduced for the spouse, but otherwise it's the same. For the critical illness, 50% for the spouse, two options, 10 and 20,000, children 50%. And then there's a long list of covered diseases with the percentages of the benefit. This is just a short summary. The plan document has a lot more information. The one thing to note also, there is a $50 wellness benefit for the critical illness, and all three worksite products are portable. And one thing that is very important is that the plan document says there's no pre-X on this product. And the rates, of course, they're in the system. And then hospital indemnity, of course, it pays a benefit if you're admitted to the hospital, $1,000 or $1,500. Now this says per day, and that's what the document says as well. It says $1,000 per day up to 365 days. It says the same verbiage in the document, but on the side it does say it's limited to 1 day per year. So it's just, which we understand is that's normal. You get hospital admission once, and then you get the daily benefit. Intensive care is a little bit more, and then there's some newborn nursery options here. Also hospital indemnity, no pre-X there as well. The rates are listed here. These are monthly rates. They're broken out in the system per pay period. And then, like I said before, Cigna has a whole bunch of things, extra items here, identity theft, and life assistance, like an EAP program, wellness discounts. And the last few pages here are the breakdown of all the costs. Of course, they're in the system, but this is helpful for the employees to figure out ahead of time what they want to do or how much they want to spend. And then disclosure information here at the bottom. Any questions about any of the benefits before we go into the system? While we have also the client broker.
Cut and dry, buddy.
It's pretty standard, yeah. All right, then let's go in. So I've provided logins for all you guys. We're using the admin side of the system. We've been doing some testing, so we're going to have all this reset to the original, so everyone's in the not begun status. If you meet with an employee or they use a call center and they're not in the system, just shoot an email to me and we'll check it out. But everyone that's eligible should be loaded. Let's see, I'm just going to pick one here. So these are the classes: full-time, regular, and then craft. And then there are 4 executives. The only difference really is the basic life insurance, the company paid life. Let me go into this one. So as an administrator, I have all the tabs here, but I'm just going to go straight into the employee. They do have weekly and biweekly. This person is biweekly. All right, so we have the list of benefits: health, HSA, critical illness, accident, hospital, dental, vision, basic life. They do have a dependent basic life and AD&D as well. It's well, we'll get into it, but so the employer is paying for basic life insurance for the employee and dependents, which is unique and nice. Sup life, employee, spouse, children, STD, LTD, FSA, and then we're going to get that the limited use FSA in there, and then dependent care. Now, personal information has been loaded from the census, but we want you to review this with the employees, update their address, get a good phone number or an updated phone number. I was in here before, so I just got this email. It won't let you proceed without an email address because, number one, the employer wants to capture it, and number two, they're going to get a confirmation email to them. So
Scott, what if somebody does not have an email at all, personal or work?
Yeah, well, we don't have to make it a required field. We can put normally what we do, honestly, is if you want it to be required, if you want confirmations to go out, but they don't have an email address, the standard that we use is this.
Okay.
But you need to do something in that kind of format, or the system will say that doesn't work. You can't just put 1, 2, 3 in there. It has to be that kind of format. So no email at noemail.com suffices. Once you put it in, usually your computer will, it'll pop up anyway. So you don't have to keep typing it in. But so we want to make sure we've got updated info here. We definitely want to get a phone number. It's not a required field, Katrina. Do you want a phone number as a required field? Like I said.
I think so, yeah.
Do you want mobile phone required?
No, just a phone number. So what do you suggest? Would you do just mobile then and not
most
home?
people just have, most people don't even have home phones, so I would do mobile.
Okay, yeah, that works for me.
Mobile is required. Okay. Now, dependents, we did get dependent information loaded. You do want to verify the dependent information also and update it if anything needs to be changed. If you want to add a dependent, there's a plus sign over here, and there's an add dependent button here. Now, important to note on this group, normally if the dependents aren't going to be covered on anything, you don't really load them here. You might load them as a beneficiary later, but you don't put them here. You're going to want to put them here because of that dependent basic life insurance, the company paid life insurance for dependents. If you don't put them here, it's going to be a problem later. You're not going to be able to add them. Excuse me, you will be able to add them.
Security required?
You have to put the dependents in, okay? If they have dependents, you have to put them in here, even if they're not going to be covered on any of the plans, because they will be covered on the basic dependent life insurance, the company paid life insurance for dependents. So you definitely need to put that.
Scott, do we need the Social Security?
I think you do, actually. So if they don't have it with them, of course they can call somebody to get it. If that's not feasible in your time frame, they can use the call center to get it put in later.
Got it.
I think in most cases, though, it won't be a problem. Now, let me go back. So if you go to My Benefits in the benefits summary, before I get into this, it shows me here, I can go through and walk through and see what plans this person's currently enrolled in. It's over here on the side as well. So we know they have the medical plan, but unless you do the My Benefits and benefits summary, you can't see which one. So they had Plan B, and there you'll see when you go in the medical, it's also listed there as well under current coverage. But I always like to go here first. And then you can see they were contributing to the HSA. Of course, they didn't have the voluntary. They had the high PPO plan for employee only. They had the vision plan for employee only. Short-term disability they purchased previously. And that's it. So before you go into the plans, I just like to do it that way myself. So I'm going to go into the medical now. So because we've pre-enrolled these, I have to unlock it. Now this is important. This question isn't saying, is your spouse eligible for coverage elsewhere? It's asking two questions. Do you intend to elect medical coverage that includes your spouse? That's the first question, because if you're not, the question is irrelevant. And if they do, then are they eligible for coverage elsewhere? There's a spousal surcharge with this group, which we've seen before. So if they intend on enrolling a spouse, then the answer is yes. This person doesn't have a spouse loaded, so I'm going to say no. This will drive the rates when you go to the next screen, though. There's Plan B. It's identified as the current plan, but they have the other options here. So OAP 1, OAP 2, and then the OAP PPO is what we've identified.
Can I interrupt real quick on the previous screen? If they have a spouse who doesn't have coverage elsewhere, they would still select no, and then it just wouldn't apply the surcharge, right?
Well, that's really a question back to you. So if they are eligible for coverage elsewhere, but chose not to enroll with their employer, you should be charging them a surcharge. So the question, let me see if I can go back. So do you intend to elect medical coverage that includes your spouse? That's first of all, because if you're getting employee only, this is irrelevant.
Right.
No, anyway. Who has the option to enroll in coverage elsewhere? Whether they're enrolled in coverage elsewhere or not is irrelevant. If they have the option through their employer, through their own employer, then the answer is yes.
Okay. So if a employee, their spouse doesn't work, so they don't have any option to enroll.
Right. Then the answer is no. Yeah.
Okay. That's, all right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're right. There could be 3 or 4 questions here, really.
Right. That works. Okay.
So Plan 1, Plan 2, and the PPO. So it's pretty obvious from the rates that this is the $5,000 plan with the least amount of premium, the $3,000 plan, and then the $1,500 plan. Pick the plan that they have. You know, if you want to keep it the same, there's a little bit of a rate increase, but otherwise same plan, or you can move to a different plan. If I choose, let's go ahead and choose the high deductible, because then it will make me or allow me to enroll in the HSA. So this is health savings account. I got employee only coverage. This little button here has to do with the maximums. So you want to make sure the tier is the same. It's defaulted. There's a $1,000 employer contribution. Now I was in here before, so this is misleading. But there's a $1,000 employer contribution. It is paid out quarterly. We do know that. If the employee wants to contribute on top of the $1,000, then that you can put in however much they want to do per pay period. So if they want to do $20 per pay on top, and most people that are participating in this know how much they want to put in, so they can do that there. Or you can, if they don't want to contribute anything, they're still going to get the match, and it'll be $1,000. When we get the limited use FSA in there, if they choose the PPO, the OAP plan, then that one will open up for them. Now, this is verbiage Fidelity made us put in here for the HSA accounts because they're new. So you have to click agree. There's 2 pages of this talking about the disclosure information and the process for opening an account. Okay, critical illness. Now, this is a tobacco-based product, so it says, have you?
Can you hear me?
Got.
Just let me ask a quick question before you go on to the CI. HSA, I understand there's a $1,000 catch-up contribution that can be made if you're 55 or older. Can that be done in the system?
It should be able to be done in the system. We've done it on other groups, but I haven't tested it. So let me get back to you on that. We'll make sure that it can be done. Write that down. So 55 catch up. I'll have to get back to you, Eric.
Good question, though.
Have you or your covered spouse used tobacco products? So again, if they're not covering their spouse, it's irrelevant, but in the last 6 months. So there's a slider bar here. So we're at 20,000, but there's a $10,000 option. I don't have any dependents loaded, so it's not giving me these other ones. So I have $854 per pay period for non-tobacco and $1708 per pay. Let's go ahead and elect it. The critical illness, the only one that asks for beneficiary is the accident, because there's an accidental death benefit. 2 accident plans, high and a low. It's in your plan document there. If I elect it, it's going to ask for a beneficiary. I don't have anybody loaded, so I'm going to have to add someone. Now that I put that person in, then there'll be an option for future if I have to get a beneficiary somewhere else. Hospital indemnity, 2 options. There's your rates, or you can hit the decline. Okay, let's see here. Oh, yes, I'm being pinged here. Back on the medical, there's 2 questions actually. Oops, here's my document. On the deductible, yes, on the deductible, does one person need to meet the family deductible, or do they each need to meet it? If I have family coverage and I alone myself am able to meet the $10,000 deductible for family and network on the $5,000 plan, does that suffice?
So I was hoping Jamie could chime in here because that's my understanding that it is individual based. So like an individual who has family coverage.
It's embedded versus non-embedded, and I don't see it anywhere.
I'm not sure if Jamie's able to hear us or not, but.
Hey, yeah, it's typically embedded. I'm trying to pull it up right now. I can double check and circle back with you guys, but it's really kind of an outlier to have aggregate.
Okay.
But I'll circle back. I'll send a confirmation email.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so this person is currently enrolled in the high PPO. They can choose the low, keep what they have, whatever they want to do on the dental. Vision, there's only one plan. They're currently enrolled in it, so they can keep it or waive it. Group basic life and AD&D. So this is for this person, full-time regular, 2 times salary, no employee costs, it's employer paid. Now the beneficiary is going to default to who I had before, but I can change it. I can add someone or change it up any way I want. Now, when we get to dependent basic life, this person, we kind of got stuck on this today, Katrina, because this person doesn't have any dependents. So the way the system works, if we just left it like this, we would not be able to proceed because we can't go anywhere. They don't have any dependents to select. So we had to put a decline button in here. And we put the verbiage in here. You should only decline if you do not have any eligible dependents. We can also look for this after the fact, post-enrollment, to make sure that someone didn't accidentally decline this when they actually do have dependents. So we'll be looking for that post-enrollment, and we'll auto-enroll them.
Okay.
Supplemental term life. Now, this person didn't have any coverage, but what we've done here is put it up to the maximum guarantee issue amount, $250,000. You can hit the toggle and bring it down to whatever you want, whatever they want to do, or you can hit decline and they don't have to do anything. If you go above the 250, then it's going to ask for EOI. This is when you hand them, or Eric in your case, email them the EOI form to return to the carrier address in the top right corner. And they need to do so, in a timely fashion, like today or tomorrow, because what's going to happen here is that for deduction purposes, we're going to push over the deduction for 250 and pen the remaining amount. Once the carrier approves, well, hopefully approves the EOI, they're going to notify the client, and the client's going to be able to come in here and unpen the deduction for the rest. The nice thing about that is that means that they're not taking deductions for someone that's not covered yet. So timeliness on the EOI is important.
And Scott, where does it come back to?
So the employee is going to send it to the carrier. The carrier will review it. They're going to send it directly to the carrier. Do not have them send those to HR or us or anyone else.
Got it. Don't collect them.
Yes.
Got it.
Now, I don't have a spouse or child loaded, so it skipped over those. The short-term disability they already had, so it actually skipped over those. It just auto-enrolled them in it, but we can go review it if they want. Maybe they want to decline it this year. So they have that option. It's just a flat amount, 60% of salary. That's a weekly benefit for the STD. The LTD shows a monthly benefit. There's the cost. If they just don't want to do it anymore, they can hit cancel, or they can just keep it. LTD, this one's employer paid, 60% of salary, no cost to the employee. It's a monthly benefit you're looking at there. And then dependent care, flexible spending, it doesn't matter which medical plan they choose, they can still get enroll in dependent care for daycare and things like that if they choose to. And it works on a calculator. You can put in the per pay period amount, and calculator gives you the annual, or a lot of people max this one out because they spend way more than $5,000. And it rolls down, it rounds down, the system does that, but it's still $5,000. We have our running tally on the sign here, pre-tax, post-tax, total cost per pay period, so they can see how much they're spending. Next page is the sign and submit. So we'd have just a summary of everything. It says right here, if you're satisfied with your elections, hit next. If you want to make changes, these are hyperlinks here. You can go back to the product and change it. So notice the term life. We have 250,000 is approved because guarantee issue. That's the deduction for 250. They requested more though, so they got to get that EOI in. Hit next. A draft of the confirmation form pulls up here. Just a summary of everything. This is what's going to be emailed to them. This will also be available to them in their portal because they're going to be able to log into Solarix after the fact and view their benefits, and including this document. But this is going to get emailed to them. There's a total cost per pay period summary right there. And then you sign it. You're going to sign it with your administrative password. And that's it. Done. Any questions about the system or navigating the system? I'm going to, one takeaway for me is the 55 plus catch up.
Does the employee automatically get emailed the confirmation?
They do. It takes some time. It's usually the next day when they get it.
Got it.
So whatever email address they put in there. Now, Katrina, one thing we found, of course, with some, if they put in their company email, is that sometimes there's blockers, in place that stop them from coming through. We'll just have to see, but that has happened before.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it shouldn't, but we'll see.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. Let me pull up the schedule real quick here. So obviously, Eric, you're handling call center. Olena and Gabriel and myself are out in the field. We ended up adding a half day to Waynesboro. There's a few more employees than we thought, and it was just more accommodating, so we just did that. But the hours there, the addresses are on tab 2 there. You're all set up with your travel, hotel, and all
So
that.
Scott, on that, with the Waynesboro, I did find out that there are a few staff that are staff employees, so that might be why that number is a little higher.
Say that again. There's a few what?
For the Waynesboro,
Yeah.
you said you have more people enrolled than what I originally
Yeah.
thought there were, and that's because that codings department may still have some staff people that are lingering and still eligible for the first year.
Oh, still eligible. Okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah, I think we'll be able to accommodate everyone there.
Okay.
And then Jacksonville, they're getting there. They have I don't know, 10 or 15 appointments so far, but that's not till the following week. And then call centers through the whole thing, all the way up to the day before Thanksgiving there, Eric. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if we need to put some extra resources on that later, then we will. The call center is looking pretty good as far as appointments. For the first 3 days are completely full. And then, they're getting there. So Katrina's been great about sending reminders and stuff for appointments. And that is about it, guys. Jamie, anything to add from your end?
No, I think we're good. I'll just follow up on the deductible question so that if people ask how that feeds into the family,
All right. Katrina, anything else?
No, I think we're good. Looks good.
All right, great. And for my team, thanks for joining. I've reached out to the location contacts, and we're in communication, and we're in a good place. Tucker, we're all set. They have brochures, know exactly where to go. Waynesboro, well, we're still working with them, but we're getting there. So thanks a lot for joining, and you all have my number and know where to find me. Thanks a lot,
Thank you so much.
everybody.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.